From all of the AT3 Center staff, we want to welcome you to our webinar, High Impact Innovative Assistive Technology Grants 2020. We are thrilled to see so many of you interested in today's topic. For those of you who may not know, the AT3 Center provides training and technical assistance to the 56 federally funded Section 4 Assistive Technology Act state and territory programs. Also, the AT3 Center provides general assistive technology information to the public and other stakeholders. If you do not know your state or territory assistive technology program, we encourage you to visit the AT3 Center website at at3center.net, where you will find a directory listing of all 56 programs along with contact information. If you are interested, you may join the AT3 listserv by clicking on the link located in the footer of AT3's website. And of course, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and to subscribe to our AT blog. This webinar will be captioned. To see the captions, click on the CC button on the control panel. If you have questions or comments during the webinar, please enter them in the chat window. We will attempt to answer as many questions as possible at the conclusion of the panel discussion. Also, this webinar will be recorded and posted on AT3's website. The URL, again, is at3center.net. You will also find the recording on our YouTube channel at AT3 Center Videos. The recording should be available within a week. Upcoming events are also listed on at3center.net events page. Registration links are sent out via our AT3 listserv. If you are interested in the future events, please be sure to subscribe to the listserv. And of course, please complete post-webinar surveys when you receive them. Today's panelists are Mark Bogosian from the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, and 3 past recipients of the HIIAT grant. Brian Norton from Indiana's Assistive Technology Program, Jeannie Kroll from North Dakota's Assistive Technology Program, and Sarah Sack from the Kansas Assistive Technology Program. We are thrilled to have Mark Bogosian from the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation with us today. Mark is going to share information about the High Impact Innovative Assistive Technology Grant and introduce you to 3 past recipients who will share their innovative initiatives funded through the grant. And without further ado, I am going to turn the mic and the screen over to Mark.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Let me pull up my slides, and here we are. Okay, great. So thank you so much, Kim. And I just want to give a big thank you to ATAP and to the AT3 Center. And thank you to all of you who have registered. I know there's about 500 people that have signed up, so thank you for joining us today. I'm Mark Bogosian. I'm the director of the Quality of Life Grants Program at the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. Before I begin, I just want to make sure that everyone is in the right place. And, you know, I'll talk about this a little bit later, but let me just get my screen to move there again. Ah, there we are, good. But I'll talk about this a little bit later on, but I just really want to make sure that everybody's in the right place. So eligibility for the High Impact Innovative Assistive Technology, or the HIIAT grants program, is restricted to state and territory AT programs that are funded through the State Assistive Technology Act. This also includes the implementing agencies and the agencies subcontracted for the AT Section 4 activities. The one thing that I'll note, and I'll touch on it again later, is that, you know, those agencies that are subcontracted must include in their application a letter from the AT Act funded program in your state or territory verifying that there's a written agreement in place with your agency to provide the Section 4 activities, and that your agency provides data for the AT Annual Performance Report, the APR. So hopefully you're here either to learn about the HIIAT program or the incredible projects that our grantees are going to be presenting today, or you're just here to learn a little bit more about assistive technology. But before we jump into the HIIAT program, I really want to tell you a little bit about the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation's National Paralysis Resource Center. I'm going to be speaking ridiculously fast, even though I've been asked to slow down a bit for the closed captioning, so I'm going to try to do that too. But we have a lot to get in here with an hour, and I really want to hear you. I want you to hear about the incredible work being done in Indiana, North Dakota, and Kansas. So the Christopher and Dana Reeve National Paralysis Resource Center has been federally funded since 2014 through a cooperative agreement with the Administration for Community Living, ACL. The National PRC provides deeply needed information, programs, and individualized support and assistance to the over 5.3 million Americans living with paralysis. The foundation of our national PRC is our information specialists. And those are folks who have provided one-on-one assistance to over 100,000 families in over 170 languages. We also have a military and veterans program, which supports the unique needs of our servicemen and women, a peer and family support program with over 440 certified peer mentors, and they've been providing support to about 12,000 people. We have a virtual community of over 3 million users who visit our website, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and our other social media outlets. And there's Reeve Connect, which is a private forum for our community. And I invite all of you to go to our website, www.christopherreeve.org, and add your voice, share your expertise, and become part of this forum. The quality of life grants, which the HIIAT program is a part of, is of course also funded through ACL. And I just want to note that by the end of this month, we will have, since its inception, made over $30 million worth of grants to over 3,200 programs. And then lastly, I just want to say that the National PRC provides free health-related resources and materials. And all of these resources that you see here on the screen, they are free, including our flagship publication, the Paralysis Resource Guide. So we invite all of you, reach out to us. All of these we're able to ship to you, for your the people you work with, and for those that you serve. Just a little bit about the history of the program. We launched in 2015, again, yes, through the partnership with ACL. It's a competitive grant program that awards anywhere but, about 5 or so one-year grants up to $75,000. And again, as we said a little bit earlier, eligible applicants are restricted to the state and AT the state and territory AT programs, and also the implementing agencies and the agencies that are subcontracted. And they must, as I did mention, include a letter from the AT program verifying a written agreement is in place and that the APR data will be provided. So to date, we've made 23 grants totaling close to $1.7 million in all of these states listed on the screen, and hopefully by the end of November, beginning of December, we'll have a bunch more to add to this. So here's what our schedule is for this year. We are opening a new cycle on Monday, July 13th. We have a technical assistance webinar the following Monday, July 20th, and all applications will be due September 15th. And previously funded organizations are now eligible to apply, but they must submit proposals for new and innovative projects. So not replications of past projects that were funded. It must be new and innovative. All the other information that's on here, about good standing and program scope, all of this will be available on our website in the program and application guidelines and on the July 20th webinar. So please tune into that. We'll be going into a lot of detail. However, just as an overview, our grants are focused on helping the state programs to extend their reach by funding projects that impact people living with paralysis. So the program has been designed to encourage and foster collaboration. And collaboration is really the important word here. Collaboration among existing agencies, other nonprofits, and networks that serve people living with paralysis. And again, the focus is through innovative assistive technology projects. So, awarded grant funds support the innovative programs and services that target a well-defined underserved population, and through the AT devices or services, increase access to those services through increasing independence or inclusion of people living with paralysis. Now, again, the type of services and programs, that type of detail, I'll be going into in much more detail on the webinar next month, as well as things about allowable costs or funding restrictions. But what I do want to share, though, is, in the past, we've supported programs such as AT equipment demonstrations and equipment loans through either loan closets or lending libraries. Things such as temporary ramps or standards or eye gaze devices, or even adaptive sports equipment. Other projects have provided wheelchair accessible scales and digital pressure mapping technology to community health centers in rural communities, or they've facilitated early mobility and assisted young children in walking, or they've also been geared at increasing outdoor physical activities through exercise and recreation. Our timeline, as I did mention earlier, is we open on July 13th. We have the technical assistance webinar on July 20th, and that I will be, going into full detail. Also on our website, we have the program guidelines and application guidelines as well. And we are asking that submission deadline is September 15th. What then happens is the applications go through a very extensive external review for about a month. The external reviewers look through these, rate them, have discussions, have meetings, and then at the end of that month period, we make announcements in the beginning of November. And the one-year grant period this coming year will be December 1st, 2020 through November 30th, 2021. I just really want to say, because throughout this pandemic, we've heard of the great work that so many of you that are joining us, and of course the folks that are going to be presenting today have been doing, and all of you across the country. And I just want to say that to us, you guys are really the heroes day in and day out, and that we at Reeve really appreciate all that you're doing to serve the paralysis community. And, for us to partner with you is really an honor. So with that, I want to say thank you. I know I've gone, over a lot of information very quickly, but all of this information will be found on our website. It's also the July 20th webinar, and I have, the application and program guidelines. So the other thing, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is on this slide, mbogosian@christopherreeve.org. And please visit our website. We have a lot of services to offer, and really we are here for all of you and for the people that you serve. So thank you. And with that, I'm gonna turn this over to Brian, and there you go.
Hey there. Well, yeah, I'm excited to be here with everyone today as well. I am Brian Norton. I'm with the InData project in Indiana. Let me go ahead and maximize my PowerPoint here. In fact, let me redo that because I did not click my little button. There we go. All right. So yeah, so my name is Brian Norton with the InData project here in Indiana. I get the pleasure of kind of talking about our recent HIIAT grant and what we ended up doing. It was called the ATMU project. ATMU stands for Assistive Technology Mobile Unit. And really what we wanted to do through our project is really develop some relationships and cultivate relationships with various community rehab facilities throughout Indiana. As people experience spinal cord injury, oftentimes they're in and find themselves in rehabilitation facilities working on kind of getting whatever they can get back as far as whatever their faculties are. And so really we wanted to develop and cultivate relationships. And in order to do that, we wanted to provide education and outreach on the tools and the resources available to people early on in their recovery and the rehabilitation process, and to really put technology and devices into people's hands and to help them become more knowledgeable about what technologies are out there as they transition to home. I think often I find I just don't know what I don't know. And if we can get to people early on in their recovery and their rehabilitation process to be able to understand what things are out there, what types of technologies, what types of tools are out there and resources are out there. We just wanted to get to people early. And so by developing these relationships and cultivating these relationships with various community rehab facilities, it was very advantageous to us to get out in front and to get with people early on in the process. And so through the mobile unit, there's a picture of it there on the screen. We outfitted it with lots of different types of technologies, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But really what we wanted to do is we wanted to meet people where they are. And wherever is most convenient for them. And so Indiana's a pretty rural state outside of a few metropolitan areas. And so we wanted to just be mobile with our technology. We wanted to be able to go anywhere to meet with anyone, any place, whether that's a rural area or an urban area, or whether they're at home or at the rehab facility still receiving services. And so that was really kind of the purposes: develop relationships with community rehab facilities and offer this direct-to-consumer demonstrations wherever folks find themselves. So how did things work for us? What we ended up doing, and as we would talk to community rehab facilities, we worked really hard to develop relationships with someone, a liaison or a point of contact at each location. Typically would end up being a manager of therapy services, a training coordinator, or a lead therapist. We gave them referral cards, which is, you see a picture of that on your screen, which kind of told people about our program, give patients a little bit of information about what we're all about and what we're trying to do. But then was also a referral card where they could fill in their contact information and then be able to choose from items or categories of technology that they just wanted to learn more about. And so once a month we go in and have conversations and work with that liaison to collect those cards. And then from there we go ahead and just schedule, contact those clients, schedule appointments with them, and go meet them where they are. So it's real simple. The identifying liaison was one of the harder things we had to deal with. Early on in our process, we had a couple of them move on to different positions with different companies or different places. And so it was a little bit of an effort to get started at first, but things are kind of humming at this point. Talk about a little bit about the technology that we were able to put into that vehicle. One of those areas or categories was home control or modification equipment. So things like smart speakers, voice or switch activated control systems, IoT devices like smart doorbells, cameras, thermostats, portable suitcase ramps, threshold ramps, so on and so forth, as far as home control or home modification equipment. Computer access equipment's in there as well, different types of keyboards and mice, voice input, eye gaze, switch devices, and lots of different technology in those areas. Also personal and domestic items, so things for bathing, dressing, toileting, feeding, meal prep, medication reminders, adaptive utensils, transfer devices, and so many more. It's pretty amazing what you can kind of fit into a vehicle, but just being, again, offering the ability to be able to kind of get that equipment to folks. Really the outcomes for us, obviously, I feel like we've been able to really develop stronger and more consistent relationships with community rehab providers here in Indiana, reaching out to them and being in regular dialogue about the people that they're seeing and making referrals back and forth, I think has been really advantageous for folks here in Indiana. Better representation of spinal cord specific technology in our loan library. We've been able to beef up what we have to specifically meet the needs of persons with spinal cord injuries. It's been really helpful. Improved ability to provide services in underserved rural areas in Indiana. Just our ability to get to someone with a vehicle that can kind of be outfitted with electrical and all the things that we need to be able to do a demo on the road and be mobile with that. Some of the specific outcomes, over the course, I think our original target was to serve about 100 individuals. And so I think through that grant year, our first grant year, we served right around 200 individuals. We were able to see 3 to 4 referrals a month coming from the community rehab facilities. The folks that we served, persons with spinal cord injury, family members, caregivers, all who are looking for information and more information just about the technology that's out there. And then through a series of educational sessions and lunch and learns at those different rehab facilities, we were able to give training to about 180 individuals just on what types of technologies are available, and just transfer of knowledge about those different types of tools and devices that are available for folks. Quickly switch my screen. Let me escape out of here and I'm gonna go to my thing. I'm just gonna share a video with you. This is one lady who received some services and just a little bit of a story about her.
A woman in Fishers is taking steps to get back to work tonight after falling and breaking her neck in 4 places. She's paralyzed now from the chest down.
But we have good news because there is a new free program that is helping her get back on track. Our Anna Carrera met up with her to see how the journey to independence is progressing.
Life used to be different for Amy Becker.
I was an office manager, so a lot of what I did was the accounting work and Excel spreadsheets.
All that changed 4.5 years ago. She accidentally fell down the stairs at her home and broke her neck in 4 places.
I'm paralyzed from the chest down, and then I don't have any movement or strength in my hands. So that's why learning to use the computer in a different way is instrumental in me trying to get back to work.
She's determined to do it, and the InData project at Easter Seals Crossroads is part of her plan moving forward. That program has a truck that brings things that people with spinal cord injuries or other disabilities may need.
It just kind of toggles back and forth.
Justin Amber came to get Amy set up and explains some technology we may take for granted could be just the thing someone with a spinal cord injury needs.
Amazon Alexa, Google Home, that sort of thing. So everyone has a different need in order to gain that level of independence. You could put this on top of this.
It's kind of trial by error, just trying different things out and see what's going to work best for my setup.
To see their expressions on their faces when they realize, wow, that's something I didn't think I'd ever be able to do. And now through technology, we're able to kind of help them make that possible.
In this case, all of this happened in Hamilton County, but the beauty of this program is these folks will travel to wherever your house is, anywhere in the state, to help take care of you.
My name is Amy Becker, period. I think it'd be very helpful for people with spinal cord injuries to know that they can use the computer and get back to work or volunteering or just all the different things that it can open up their world to.
They've helped hundreds of people already this year and hope to reach more to help change more lives in the future. Reporting from Fishers, I'm Anna Carrera, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
All right, so that's just a little bit of what we're doing here in Indiana, and I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and pass the baton to Jeannie over in North Dakota.
Hello. It's nice to see all of you guys. I'm actually not seeing anyone, but but it's nice to be here and talk about our project. We're still excited. It's been over with for a couple months now, and we're still excited about it. And basically, our Smart Home First project, we wanted to do it to really improve access for individuals for smart home products, and really build awareness and increase the knowledge of the incredible benefits of smart home technologies for individuals with paralysis in rural North Dakota, and their care providers and the professionals that serve them. And you know, the fact that it can give independence and safety, but then also provide peace of mind for care providers. And we wanted them to know about it before they need it. I mean, how many times have you as service providers gone and worked with somebody, you know, 2 or 3 years post, and they've had nothing and no way to control their environment? And I remember one guy telling me that he was basically staring at a wall before we came to see him. And so we really were seeing the need. And I just wanted to show you. And so how did we do this? We basically created 2 state-of-the-art smart homes, and for public awareness and to increase the availability of smart home equipment for the tours and demonstrations, both virtually and then on site. And we didn't create these from scratch. We actually had, since 2013 and then also 2016, we've had these simulated homes that we built in our offices. They're about 1,000 square feet each, and they have bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, dining room, living room, and they're filled with assistive technology. And so what we did is we purchased this assistive technology and added it to those homes. And we're able to give these tours and both on-site and accommodate quite a few people on-site pre-COVID, and then also virtually. And so I'll give you some pictures of these devices. This is our bedroom here in Fargo. And the beauty of smart home technology, and people are saying, well, we don't notice any difference really, because it kind of blends in, so it's kind of nice. But so I can point out a few things. There's our Google Nest Hub Max in the bedroom, and the Lifix lights up there on the top, and they're turned to green, and can't see the blinds. Or there's actually some other products in here. But this is our living room and den in Fargo. You can see our smart TV and our Echo Bee thermostat on the wall there. There's our little Echo earbuds on the table there. This is the living room and bathroom. Whoop, missed a spot there. A living room and bathroom in Mandan, and many devices throughout. You can see, I believe it's the Echo Show over there in the corner. There's a smart light strip on the bottom there, and many other devices, a little bit of our bathroom. And these little cards here are cheat sheets, because there's a lot of things to remember when you're talking to your voice assistants, in case you have never tried that. This is the kitchen and dining, and a little bit of the bathroom here in the Fargo office. And our smart ceiling fans, Echo Show, our little Roomba with a little home under the table. We've got blinds in this room, flood alarms, and motion detectors, Samsung SmartThing buttons, and lots of different devices. And this is our kitchen in Mandan, with many assistive daily living aids, as you can see there. My favorite thing in this home is the voice-activated faucet from Delta, and it works pretty darn slick. I'm not going to go into too much more of that. We actually just posted a video on Facebook about for the Mandan office, and at the end of this, I might give a quick little tour of our center in Fargo here too. These are just a picture of our smart home apps, some of the apps that we have in our center. And these are the cheat sheets we have here in Fargo. As I talked about earlier, the importance of them. Not many homes have 3 different voice assistants and 30 to 40 products a piece to control. So it's very difficult for us as service providers to remember all the tasks. But these are also used so people can give self-guided tours as well. So they can be handed these sheets and they can activate them themselves without us even being there if they'd rather not. Oops. This device here, I just wanted to highlight, we use this. This is the Levo book stand right here on this side, and then this right here is the tablet stand, and we use these in our centers to give tours. As you can see, the tablet is hanging off the edge there so the camera can be seen, and many times we have a small staff, so many times we don't have somebody to be carrying the camera, and we don't want to walk into walls. So this is nice to be able to have to give tours, and really helped us a lot and continues to help us, and we're actually using it also for individuals in their homes as well. In addition to the smart homes, we also increased the amount of equipment in our loan library, and we put together some kits for individuals. This is an Amazon kit with an Echo Show, Echo Dot, a camera, and 4 smart plugs. Now, it's not a ton of devices, but it's enough for somebody to figure out whether or not this will help them, and also give us a platform so that we can try out and figure out their access method, which for some people, if it's not voice, it's hard to get at, and you need to have something to be able to control in order to see if it works. So this kind of helps, and we have both Google and Amazon kits, and then a bunch of standalone equipment like the Fire TV Cube. Then we also procured iPads for our loan library for our collaborators throughout the state and individuals. So we would put the Zoom and FaceTime and get it all queued up for them. So all they would have to do is hook up, once it was sent to their home or to their business, hook up the Wi-Fi and then be able to just basically accept the call. So just kind of bypassing all the troubleshooting. The stats from the highlights from our project: 184 pieces of smart home equipment and accessories were purchased. We served 86 individuals with paralysis and their family members, and they received about 48 demonstrations. We did wrote blogs. We were featured in newspaper articles and on the news and in newsletters about 18 times throughout the year. I think we said in our proposal that we were going to do 20 smart home tours, and we ended up doing 73, and then 13 different presentations throughout the state for 1,335 people. And it was an absolute blast to be able to do this. Tammy from our office, for example, and a lot of these were done virtually, and Tammy from our office in Mandan, for example, was able to beam out to the 10 North Dakota Protection and Advocacy offices at once so they could hear the same message and get a tour of our center. And we did this with many other state entities and other service providers. So it was really, it's nice to be able to do that, and which is why our numbers are so high, because you can get to a lot of people in a short amount of time. We also did some video collaborations with the North Dakota Brain Injury Network and Eventide Assisted Living, and all surrounding the smart home. And these are available just if you get these slides just by clicking those links, or also just by going to our website, and it's in the first couple pages of the blogs. Or you can just email me and I'll send you a link. I think what we learned and the challenges from this, this was just really an incredible experience to be able to do this. And I think the return on investment for the people of North Dakota is going to be ongoing. When I think of where we were just a year ago in our knowledge base, we've all just really grown in this area so that we can help more people. And now we know what questions to ask for our individuals we're serving. It's just incredible, the things we know now that we didn't. And the technology is changing, so now we're able to really keep up on it and keep adding to our centers and adding to our knowledge base. For an example of how quickly the technology changes, we wrote this grant in December of 2018. I think we submitted it January 1st or 2nd, and by March, when we received the dollars, about half the equipment had either changed price, was obsolete, or it was already updated. So that tells you anything. So we kind of had to rework everything, and it was just fine. And we also found out that not all voice assistants are created equal. And Amazon and Google ended up being the winners, and they had the most compatibility and the easiest to set up. We did have some love for Siri, and Courtney, that's for you. And we found out Cortana. First of all, we didn't even know they made a voice assistant. I mean, a standalone one separate from a computer, and so we found that. And but really it only is activated by voice, and that's it. You can't, there's no interface. So if all of a sudden she doesn't hear you, you're kind of out of luck. And so not a good device. So not something that we would ever recommend. But it's a really good speaker, so if you ever want that. Just because it says it's compatible does not mean it's compatible, and we kind of found that out the hard way. I mean, we were working with the Hunter ceiling fan, and it had a Alexa emblem and a Google Assistant emblem, and no, it didn't work with either of those for us anyways. And the Hunter ceiling fan, they were the support team, they were just as stumped as we were, let's put it that way. And so just live and learn, I guess. And you can read about our ceiling fan journey on our blog by clicking that link or going to our website. Smart blinds. Who knew you were going to have trouble with blinds? And it had nothing to do with the smart device. So we got these My Smart Blind add-ons. So you add them on to your existing blinds to make them smart. And little did we know that right at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, that the manufacturer stopped selling corded blinds because of safety issues. And so didn't realize that. And it's still a good product. I mean, it's not like everybody's going to stop using their corded blinds. So, but just something to be aware of, and just more learning. Wi-Fi challenges, it's me, not you. Well, we really thought we might have issues in people's homes, which we did, but it was actually our own Wi-Fi that caused the problem, because ours is intermixed with a server in a way that was just a little challenging. And so we had to work some of those bugs out. One of the last things, make sure that you have an intake sheet before you go out to somebody's home. And we've known this for a long while, but we actually developed an intake sheet to really get passwords and information on people's equipment beforehand, so we knew what to bring. And even so, you know, they tell us their password, and of course they thought that was the password, but it wasn't. And I think that's probably happened to half of us here. The coolest thing we found out, it's the last thing I want to tell you, is we purchased some Microsoft Surface Pros with eye gaze equipment for individuals, so they'd have another alternative other than the iPads and Android devices. But we didn't realize that there were very, very few smart home apps for Windows. And almost nothing. And so what we did was found, by happenstance really, an Android emulator for Windows, and there's many of them out there. We picked BlueStacks, and it's free, and downloaded it. It's a program you download and open it up, and the screen looks just like an Android tablet with Google Play, and you download the apps just like you would on an Android tablet and connect them to your smart home equipment, and then you can easily access eye gaze. Now, this is before Apple got its eye gaze, that we did all of this, but this is another alternative, especially if somebody is using it for work, or that eye gaze Surface Pro is their communication device, and so on and so forth. There's just another alternative out there for individuals. So that's all I have. I'm going to stop sharing and give it to Sarah.
All right. Second here, and we'll set this up. Hopefully you're seeing my screen at this point. I get a head nod, yes, all right, good deal. I want to echo exactly what Jeannie and Brian have said about the HIIAT Award. We have had a fabulous time in Kansas. The experience has been really great. It's been a great learning experience for us, and it has given us the access to equipment that has meant so much. But before I tell you exactly what we are doing in Kansas, I want to take you along with our thought process, because I think this is a project, even though Mark says he doesn't want repeat projects, this may be the exception. And this may be the program that I think you all might want. We are so jazzed about it. We called it, because you know we always have to have long titles in Kansas, Accessible Recreation, playing electronic games independently to increase health and social interaction. So with those ideas in mind, I want to just set the stage for you, because this is kind of the process that we all have gone through. We have a staff of 24 in Kansas through the Assistive Technology for Kansans program. Some are gamers, some are not. So it's like, okay, where are we on this? So we started thinking about gaming, and you keep, just everywhere there's gaming, in the news and in sports events. So you just kind of are hearing more and more about it. And you realize now, this was whatever, 18 months, 2 years ago when we were thinking about this. But it's like, okay, so what really are these just a lot of people, or some people that talk a lot about gaming, or why are we hearing so much about it? So we started looking, and the most recent data, which I updated for you, is at the end of 2019, there are 2.47 billion gamers in the world, 5.9% year-on-year growth in gaming. 2.6 billion gamers are forecasted for the end of 2020, and that was without the pandemic. Then you've got $165 billion spent on gaming. So it's obviously, a huge area, a huge issue around the world. So how about in the States? What do we know? Well, there are at least, and this is the conservative estimate, there are at least 183 million active gamers in the States. And, our idea of gamers of, gaming all the time and not doing anything else, it's like, that's not true. You look at the research and the data here, and these are folks that are civically involved. They actually exercise more than non-gamers. They get out and they sleep, same amount of sleep as non-gamers. 65% of American adults are gamers with an average age of 33 years. So hold on, a little more stats here, because I'm going to hook you on the idea of gaming. So 3 out of 4 American households have a gamer living there. 64% of American households own a gaming device. 70% of parents state that they believe gaming is educational. And we're getting even better here. 60% of parents play video games with their children at least once a week. 65% of women ages 10 to 65 play mobile games. Gamers are pretty much equally distributed. 54% are men and 46% are women. Gamers spend an average of an hour or 2 a day playing games. Those over 60, a little bit less, but about 6 hours a week spent gaming. Now we're getting into the good stuff. So what is it about gaming? Why do people game? Well, 2 out of 3 gamers play with others. Adult gamers play with their friends for an average of 4.8 hours per week online, or almost 3.5 hours a week in person. And you know, they're only playing about 7 hours a week. So most of the time, or half of the time, they're playing with someone else. And then just for your background, we looked at, you know, what devices are people using? Well, they're playing on browser PC games, they're using consoles, they're using, you know, box systems, they're using their smartphones, they're using their tablets. So we know kind of how, I'm going to kind of skip through some of this. We know what they're playing on, we know how they're playing. What do we know about kids and gaming? Well, it's a good thing for kids. The research, once you dig into it, you know, it's solid. They have better problem-solving skills. They have sharper eye-hand coordination. It helps their critical thinking skills for evaluating potential actions. They're better if they're working as a team. They get practice setting and obtaining goals. So what do we know about gaming? Well, we know that it's healthier if you game across multiple genres. So, you know, people don't just pick one thing and stick to it, and that's all they do. You know, you always hear the example of, oh, those shooter games. Well, it's quite healthy if you go across genres. So action and adventure genres, active and physical, the educational genres, the puzzles, the role plays and simulation, and the trivias. So we also know, and I'll just, again, kind of skip through this, but we know what games men like to play, what genres they, should start there, what genres they play in, what games they play. We know women, we know it by breakdown. So all that information is easily available to you. So, you know, we know that most people think of themselves as casual gamers. Although you guys out there, you're more apt to say you're expert gamers than the women are. But we like to play games too. So it's across the way. So what I have on the screen here, for those of you that are able to see the screen, I've got a clip from a game that's very popular. It's called Vampire Masquerade and Pugmire. And this game is actually produced, it's a role play game. It's actually made by a gentleman with hearing loss that we'll talk about in just a minute. But that was just my segue into, okay, why do you play games? Why do people play games? Well, for enjoyment, stimulation, learning new skills, relaxing, the epic win. And I think for folks with spinal cord injuries, this may be one of the key pieces right here. We all know that epic win of when you've worked on something for so long and you finally get that breakthrough, and how great, absolutely great that feels to you. And then there's that other element that people don't talk so much about, although you're starting to hear a little buzz about it, of that shared social experience. You know, and the idea of Mark and I are playing a game together and Mark doesn't shoot me, or he shares his resources with me so I can move on to the next level. That, and you can examine the body and the effects on the body, and it is tremendous. So it is good for people to play games. So, and the final part about this little section is the important takeaway here. There is actually research to say that, Brian, if you and I, we're friends, and if you and I play games together, we'll be better friends. And I think that is so cool. And I can't quite explain it, but the research is there. So I have way too much information for you, but the idea here is that people are making their living gaming. There's just a lot going on in gaming. There are gamers, as we know, with disabilities. There is a group that everybody wants to follow, the Able Gamers, and they have 33 million, not Able Gamers doesn't, but it's estimated that there are 33 million gamers in the US with disabilities. We've got great gamers out there. If you go out and the Sightless Combat, you follow them. Their tag is GWS, Gamers Without Sight. And Gamers Without Sight are just going to town and hitting top levels of many games that you would think you would need vision to play, but they have managed to play it. But so where we came to the HIIAT effort is, okay, it's like, we get it. We understand that gaming could be really great for you. So, you know, what do you need? What do you need to be able to game? Do you need a different controller or a different access method? Do you need a different game console? Do you need an accessible format? Do you need just basic instruction and access to a range of games? Do you need instruction on those games? Do you need help with, you know, people to play with, additional access to games and equipment? What we realized with our Technology Act program is we have a really great inventory of recreation equipment, of accessible recreation equipment. We've got great, you know, cameras and mounts and adapted fishing and hunting and all kinds of different things. We had no electronic consoles, gaming consoles. That was just not an area we had any inventory. We had switches and we had some mounts, but just no gaming equipment. So our application for the Christopher and Dana Reeves, the HIIAT program, was to present this issue, to really sell them, and we hope we did, Mark, to sell them on the importance of gaming as a social activity and to your health and to your independence, and that with their support in purchasing the equipment, we would be able to go a long way. So we have staff across our program. We have 6 active gamers from 3 different sites. They are working with 30, or will be working with 30 individuals who have spinal cord injuries and that may have hemiplegia, cerebral palsy, progressive neurological impairments, or traumatic brain injuries. But they will all, the common feature here is all individuals will have fine motor limitations that will be working with this effort. So through the Christopher Reeves Foundation effort and through the university, we're actually doing a research study, and we're going in and really examining gaming and their health and what has the access to the equipment, this equipment and this instruction and these supports, what is it, you know, what has it done for them? So we've got in-home and center-based assessments. We've got a demonstration of devices and different activation controls. We're trying to take gaming to the next level. So taking all gamers. Because of COVID-19, we're not as far along. We started our effort in January. We're not as far along, obviously, as we would have been without COVID-19, because we need that face-to-face interaction. And Kansas was a state that actually had stay-at-home orders until just recently. So we've had a few people that we had started with before COVID kicked in. And so we've spent the time since COVID actually increasing all staff skills in gaming and actually putting kits together and so forth for the individuals. So we've worked with 11 folks. The one, I just have a real short clip. Hopefully with the sound was shared before, but what all you're seeing here is this is a young man who he and his father are being interviewed. He's actually playing an active action game. You'll hear the shooting in the background. He's actually playing it with his feet. And this is one of his early times, and he's doing.
I would need to link these two
really
remotes
well,
so that it knew I was using half of this and half of that. Okay. So I would link the two together so that it would, because as it is right now, his Xbox just thinks of that as its own remote.
Yeah.
But you must have that linked to this, because this is shaking when he's shooting. Yeah, I think I could.
Yeah.
Let me see. He's going to town.
Okay, you heard her last. He was shooting, and she's saying he's going to town. So at this point, that young man, he is now gaming. He was not gaming before. He's now gaming. His dad, they're going to play together a multiplayer game in the very early stages of the gaming. But anyway, so that with the program, what we will be doing is really working with individuals together, bringing them along for independent play, working on multiplayer gaming. The equipment, our concept here is we loan the equipment, help them find the accessible features that work for them so they can actively game. We match them with gamers, have gaming supports. They'll have the equipment in most cases for about a 3-month period of time. And then during that period, when we find out what works for them, we're working to get them their own equipment. And then that equipment is coming back and going on to others. We are actually going to have an effort with our reutilization program. We figure around Christmas time when the new consoles are coming out that people just might want to donate their old consoles. So we hope to be able to share equipment because for us, the older equipment will work just fine. So that's a quick snapshot of what we have happening in Kansas. And we really say thank you to the Christopher and Dana Reeves Foundation. We have so much excitement and energy on this activity here. And I think we all need a gaming effort throughout the tech programs. So I'll give it back to Kim.
Well, thank you, Sarah, and thank you everyone else. Amy, do we have any questions in the chat box? And if any of you have held off asking your questions, this would be a great time to enter them.
Yes, we do, Kim. So we did have a question about, and this was directed to Jeannie, but probably applicable to the others. So you've gotten people to become aware and they're interested. Now, how do they purchase these items?
That's a good question. We have a last resort funding program, and that is one way. It's a donation-based type of funding program, so we're able to do that. There's also through Medicaid waivers. That's another avenue. We also have a financial loan program with a 2% fixed interest rate, so that is certainly an avenue as well, and many other programs. And so.
Thanks. And there was another question about rural internet access. And I think all of our presenters probably can speak to that.
Yeah, this is Brian. That's sometimes difficult and hard. I think all of our specialists, they have hotspots on their phones, and some of them have Wi-Fi receivers or access points that they can take with them. But depending on where we are, I think in Indiana, last I saw, we're still about 40% or 35% of our state got very limited broadband access, and so that gets a challenge depending on where we're meeting. And sometimes, if we're not going to be able to facilitate a good demonstration within the home because of limited Wi-Fi, we explore the opportunities for them to get that, but would meet with them at locations in and around them or near them that would be able to allow us to connect that reliably, the technology reliably.
In North Dakota, we're actually, believe it or not, we're one of the most connected states, and we had fiber even back in the 90s. That said, we still have issues and deal with them very similarly to what Brian said.
Okay, thank you. We did have a couple of other questions. Did you have to teach the clients how to play the games or just access the games? And also, did the clients pay for the games?
Okay, first of all, we have staff that are teaching the games, or we will find mentors that actually are skilled in the games that they want to learn. So, and that is part of our process of, you know, what types of games do you want to play? Who are you going to play with? Do you need us to help you find a gaming friend, gaming support person? Yes, we have games within our program. Part of our, you know, talking about how you purchase, how do you move that next step? Part of our effort is our funding assistants are going to be assisting individuals in locating recreation dollars, other funds for this technology that would include some gaming money along with it. And we're hoping eventually that we'll have some supports for, you know, gaming in the community. You notice a lot of your recreation groups are now starting esports events, most of them since COVID. And they will have games for checkout and loan there too. A lot of your libraries have games to loan.
Great idea. So just to reiterate, since there were a couple of questions about this, attendees will not get sent a copy of the slide deck. However, the slides will be available, we hope by a week from tomorrow, on the AT3 Center's YouTube channel. And what we will do, as Kim mentioned, you will all be getting a link to the Survey Monkey. And in the cover email, we will be sure to put a link to the AT3 Center video YouTube channel. And that way you'll be able to click and find it readily. The only thing that would make it a little bit later than 6:19 is we do post-production cleanup of the captioning. If the captioning is good to go, it will only take about a week. If it needs more remediation, it may take a little longer in the interest of accessibility. Question about advice for states that cannot bill Medicaid waivers for this AT, but want to do so?
That's a really good question. We weren't able to bill our state AT programs either. We, when their comment periods came up, that's when we started commenting, and for one waiver, we suggested that they pay for assistive technology evals, for example, and that ended up working. I think really getting involved in building a relationship and proving the value of and the return on investment of assistive technology is really your job here, and even regardless of the Medicaid. Obviously, that's our job. So I think we've just really focused on doing that, and we still have a long way to go, but it is helping a little bit.
And Jeannie, while you're on, question, your demo center, your home, that's not in a residential home, is it? It's in a repurposed office? Can you please clarify?
Sure. It is actually in, we have two offices in Mandan and Fargo, and they're a little bit bigger than your average office, about 1,000 square foot bigger, and that's where the homes are. So I can actually walk out of my office here, which is not in San Francisco, by the way, and go to our center. So it's just down the hall, and it's the same way in our Mandan office. So we're very lucky to have this.
Yes, face the final frontier. But the question, I think, is more, that's not a residential house.
Yeah, no, it's just an office space.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that you have beautifully outfitted. We did have an idea from one of our attendees, if you're looking to promote awareness of adaptive gaming, is to look at some of the science fiction conventions once they have them again. So I thought that was a great idea. Does private insurance pay for any items is the question. I know that's very broad. So anybody bill private insurance for any items that you've addressed today?
For us in North Dakota, we have not. The only thing that would be even close would be an AAC device that just happens to have access to ECU or environmental control or smart home devices. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any. Yeah, I'd have to look into that a little bit more.
Okay. We also had a question about where can I find a comprehensive listing of assistive technology? So that's a huge question. And what I would suggest is that you start with your state HIIAT program. They all have robust information and referral staff who can help narrow down by looking at the function that you need the assistive technology to do. And again, the directory of state HIIAT programs can be found at www.at3center.net/state programs. Will private insurance pay for evals? So again, that's a pretty broad question. Is that not sure whether that's evaluation for home access or what. So hard to tell. Okay. I don't think that, I think I have captured all of the questions to date. Here's one. What do you think people most need related to getting smart home technology? Do they need familiarity with IT? Do they need some sort of baseline device knowledge? Or is funding the primary barrier?
I would say it's more the first two. We had people, they had gotten smart home technology, sometimes full outfits, and it was still in the box. And they just didn't know how to use it. They were coming. It's kind of like when the iPads came out. How many people came knocking on your door saying, okay, I have the iPad, now tell me how to use it for my communication device. It's kind of that same thing. I had an individual with paralysis. He's been paralyzed for 8 years, and he had the very first Echo. This was just 2 months ago. I went to see him. It was still in the box with the wrapping on it. So, and he was paralyzed from the neck down. And so certainly he could have made use of that. So he's now on his way to outfitting his whole place now after working with us. But there's so much. And the whole IT piece, I think it scares people. And then the whole privacy piece is what stops people too. So there's a lot of pieces to that actually. So.
Great, thank you. Let me see. Okay, the link to obtain information for your State Assistive Technology Act program is www.at3center.net/state program. I'm going to type that into the chat box as well. So I don't know if Mark has any last words to bring us on home.
Thank you so much, Amy. You know, I really just want to say thank you to all of these, to the great presenters, Sarah, Brian, Jeannie. It's just been such a pleasure working with you. And, you know, I think sometimes I say I'm the luckiest person on earth to have the job that I do, just to be able to work with folks like you, and the important, great work that you're doing is just, it makes such a difference in this world. So thank you. And, you know, for everyone who's listening, I really hope that if you're interested in the HIIAT grant program to, you know, please come to the, you know, Christopher Reeve website, learn about the program. We also offer a number of other grants programs, you know, beyond the HIIAT grants program. So please be sure to take a look at those as well. You know, anything that we can do for you, we're here for you. And, please, to everyone out there, the resources that we do offer through the National Paralysis Resource Center are, there's many, and please take advantage of them. So thank you, to ATAP, to the AT3 Center, and to Kim especially for setting all of this up. So Kim, thank you.
Well, yeah, and thank you, Mark. We really appreciate you sharing this information. And thank you to Brian and Jeannie and Sarah. And most importantly, thank you to all of you who attended. We really appreciate you spending time with us today and learning about the HIIAT grant. And please reach out if you have questions. So thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Take care.
Bye-bye.